Good morning and welcome to the Morning Cup. Oh, it's hot. It's 3:53 Central Texas time. I've been up since about 2:30, so I've already just goofed off for about 90 minutes. I went to bed early because I can. I also knew I wanted to get up and take my time organizing myself before I go. It's a kind of response to my days when I was a salesman for an optical company traveling all around, 3 states, half of 3 states, Northern California, uh, Western Nevada, and Southern Oregon. And I hated that early morning anxiety of having to get up, shave in the shower, and put on a suit and tie and get everything, all my shit straight and stuff. And then, boom, first appointment, 8 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, I don't like to rush. I'm going to take my time this morning, take my final bath. I have only taken really 3 showers since I've been here. I think 3. Yeah, I've still got 1 clean towel left, so it's been 3. I'm just out of the habit, and I don't really need to. I'm not sweating all day long. I'm not getting dirty and greasy. There's no need to bathe when you don't need to. As a matter of fact, it dries out the skin. I stopped. I was going up. They got BBC America on, where Gavin Newsom finally admits that there was a water problem, and that's made me want to mention that. See, I spent my winters in Santa Barbara a couple of years. I just wanted to. I had the ability to do so. It was still walking pretty good, and uh, so I was there. And I want to remind you, see, you're talking about all these wildfires and stuff like that. They haven't built any reservoirs, and they didn't. I want to bring this up because you'll have trouble finding it. But I was there reading the papers, and that's when papers were somewhat reliable and news. Santa Barbara was given money just like LA County. LA County was given $20 billion specifically to build desalination plants, just like Israel uses and produces pure water from it. They were given 20 billion, which back in those days, $20 billion could have built 20 desal plants that would literally produce enough water to fill up a pipe line with an interior diameter of 6 feet, flowing it under, at high pressure. It would have Santa Barbara, its reservoir was empty, almost empty when I got there in the beginning of the winter of, I think, 90, 91, something like that. Was it 89, 90? It doesn't matter, but their reservoir was almost bone dry and muddy. And they had just finished laying this big, giant, 6 foot, 8 foot pipe right out into Santa Barbara. Beautiful, lovely, perfect Santa Barbara Bay there. Right through the beach, right through almost, and it was just getting ready to come online when the rains came and filled up the reservoir, and they mothballed it for future use. See, LA wouldn't be having a problem right now if they hadn't taken that $20 billion that the federal government gave them to build desal plants in the late 80s, early 90s, and instead of just putting it into the general fund and pissing it away on pride parades and stuff like that, they actually built the desal plants. Oh no, that'll make our coastline look horrible. Then, a couple 100,000 people would still be in their homes right now. It's all about management of your time. And stuff like that. It's like I've already thought about it. It's this morning I was thinking about it because my friend sent me a picture yesterday of somebody leaving a white bag, and I realized that almost all of them white, like kitchen type trash bags like that, are fragrance infused. That they have micro encapsulated fragrances in it. So if you touch it, it explodes. It gets on your hands. It gets on any of the food, the trash that you throw in there. And I'm giving you a guarantee right now. If I come up there and it smells like a scented bag, I'm not even going to look inside that bag. That bag will be hooked with a tree limb or something, or my selfie stick, and then drugged to the nearest, or just drugged right out in the middle of the fucking street, right in the middle of the parkway. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to waste the water it would take to wash that crap off my hands. I'm not going to get close enough to it. I don't give a fuck what you put in that bag. If you put it in a scented bag, everything in there would just trigger me as much as bad as that shit that I got to plug in before I leave. They had an electrically, it runs a little tiny little, it's probably nothing more than a little tiny little warming element to Los Angeles wildfires is what's showing on BBC News right now, which already there but this is BBC America. So all of this mismanagement of borrowed monies mostly and taxpayer funds, that shit's got to stop. Pissing it away on safe spaces and other crap like that. And teaching to a test instead of just teaching. Like teaching kids how to speak English properly. Teaching kids how to do. Actually, their style of new math is the way I used to always do math. I multiply by a factor 10 at the first basic, and then I multiply the second digit or the second sum, and then add them together. That's the way I've always done it in my head. So the new math, some of it I don't have any disagreement with. Oh, burn, baby, burn. I call it the Satan is copying Amazon's fulfillment center thing. He's just decided to just, put his warehouse right there where it belongs. It's these people, in case you don't know, they knew this was coming. One report, which is based on fact, was that State Farm in that area, like Pacific Palisades, canceled 70% of all the homeowners' insurance a year before this happened. Because they just said, no, you're too high risk. They looked at the fact that there's almost no water supply and really bad management and stuff, and just cut them loose. So a lot of these people, either they had to pay more or they don't have any, complete coverage on their home. They may only have the structure covered, but not the contents. And often people, like in areas like this, they have as much contents as they do in the house. Anyway, I'm going to slowly start getting shit together, and it looks like I'm going to leave with backpack, a duffel bag, and the one black bag I'm just going to have my dirty clothes in that so I can keep it separate. And it looks like I'm going to be coming in with going back with at least 2 items fewer than with what I brought. I've decided to wear the black slacks, and I'll be pretty much solid black tomorrow. That'll be good. That'll go with the sunshine thing. It should be pretty nice. It's just going to be chilly at night, and they're already upping the temperatures. I can't trust them. They said it was going to get down to 27 to 29 and stuff. And now they're already upping it to, 30 to 32 for, actually, even this morning, they actually said they was going to be like 27. Yesterday morning, around this time period from now until 9, 10 o'clock until midday, they said it was going to be 27 degrees when I got a feeling it's not anywhere. And then late last night, well, it wasn't late. I went to bed by about 8:30 or something. I just I ate some sweetened rice, and the feeling I didn't even take a Xanny. I just was fatigued after a bad night, and I knew it was time, and I just went in bed. I think I even left the TV on, but the sound off and lights on, and just slept. Anyway, UK something from China. Yeah, the exchequer was in speaking on China there a while ago. UK Chancellor visit. Yeah, the Chancellor of the Exchequer. And I went to China to tell them, like, well, yeah, we'll handle all your dirty money in our private banking empire. Can't tell whether I just washed my face for the second time. I'm reluctant to even take a shower because it's exhausting. And Cass Comerford knows what that's like. It's especially when I'm in a situation where I don't have a grab bar and don't have a non-slip surface in there, but my feet have been sticking to the bottom of that thing pretty good. I probably will just for one last scrub up because it'll be a long time, hopefully, before I go back in the hotel again. But it's not. Winter's just starting. I'm just hoping it'll be short lived. Instead of last year at this time, we were looking at 4 more months of freezing weather, sub freezing. I don't think it's going to do that again this year. Yeah, I don't like to get up and start. I'm not the type to just get up, pull on my shoes, and go out in the morning and walk to the corner deli and stuff and have a cup of coffee or corner diner and stuff. No, in the morning I like to take my time and think and reflect and plan the day out and have my cup of tea. I've been actually drinking. I told you I've been drinking this actually the same Uncle Lee's organic tea now for going into almost 12, 14 years, ever since Walmart. You know, think about how much Walmart has. There's no reason for tea to be overpriced like it is with the Bigelow brand that they've got over there, which I will leave on it. Plus the nasty coffee. Their coffee here isn't very good. Yeah, let's put it like this: it's terrible. And Bigelow is just too overpriced. Bigelow is for snobs who rarely drink tea. That's why they want that laminated, you know, metallized mylar kind of, but still rippable. Mylar really ain't rippable like packaging, so it can sit on their shelf forever, sit in their cup boards forever before they pull it out. And because we have become a coffee drinking nation. Boy, I recovered strongly after that. I think that kind of gave me a little kickstart, especially mentally. It was some kind of allergic reaction. I really began to think it's allergy or pseudo allergy I still haven't, I haven't developed any diarrhea from I was vomiting. I was Frankenfood doesn't produce vomiting unless you're eating way too, Uh, and I'm still feeling solid. I don't even feel like I need to drop a douche yet. I wish I could do that before I showered up, but it'll probably happen. It doesn't matter. I still swab my pits with benzalkonium chloride. How much time are we into this? 15 minutes. Yeah. So just want to remind you that sometime in the late 80s or something, possibly from the Reagan administration or whatever, they gave $20 billion, which sounds like nothing now after COVID times. 20 billion is, but they gave Los Angeles County, city and county, enough money to turn seawater into distilled quality water. And it didn't happen. They didn't build the desal plants that they were given the money to. Might want to keep that in mind. What other little pet projects did they piss it away on? They accepted the money and went into the general fund, and nothing happened. Santa Barbara did. You can look at, I'm pretty sure it's still there. A gigantic pipe right down was that like State Street's the main street, right off of, pretty close to State Street. There's this just giant pipe. It comes out on the surface of the beach and just runs right out into the ocean. And they had finished it on my second winter there. It was ready to go, and the winter, and then the rains came, and the reservoir filled up, and they decided to use the reservoir and mothball the desal plant until it was absolutely needed. LA's got no excuse. Zero, none, other than people that are just too worried about their naughty bits and thinking about their naughty bits and giving money to poor, oppressed peoples, and housing illegal immigrants. They do. And now actually one person is blaming the beginning of the fire on a homeless person. Well, tough shit. It's maybe if you would treat those homeless Americans like you do the homeless invading people and give them a hotel room. In case you don't know it, the city of LA gives out vouchers that every hotel in town has to accept or run into licensing problems, etc. And they just dread them and stuff like that. It's anybody who wants a hotel room for the night in LA and stuff like that can get it. And I'm talking top class hotels. They give you a voucher. The hotel has to accept it by law. I don't want to hear any of your bullshit, your Google studies. That's a fact. As a matter of fact, the hotels were just, they're not like the hotels in New York City and stuff who wanted that business. They wanted all that taxpayer money. In LA, they didn't. Yeah, they're showing California burning. Gee, isn't that too bad? Let's not forget, you're the ones that kept voting against more reservoirs and pressuring you didn't want any more disruption of your beautiful landscape. You didn't want the animals to be harmed. You didn't want that field mouse to be harmed. So you stopped the cutting of the fire breaks and stuff like that. There's been almost no management of the forestry and forestry management of the Angeles National Forest and Los Padres right nearby and all that. It's been almost nothing because you want it to just be natural and not no evidence of mankind being there. You want this pristine wilderness to, leave your megalopolis of like 20 million people or something and go off into the wilderness, and yeah, bullshit. I got really no sympathy for that. I've always hated LA, except for when I was 10 years old and went to, Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm and Marine World or whatever, Marine Land. That was about the only time that I had any real, well, I'm getting recruited by UCLA. Didn't like USC at all. UCLA was fun, but I've never had much fun down there in the desert. I don't like deserts. I just don't. I like green stuff. I like to be around where I know there's bodies of water around. I'm one of them people that just don't like deserts. Some people, the sons of, the descendants of Ishmael, seem to just love, barren sand. And they seem to just cling to that, or they turn it into that wherever they go, one or the other. Maybe it's their love of goats, because goats will eat every last, thing right down to the ground and turn it into a desert. Although the Sahara Desert is natural anyway. I'll let you go. 20 minutes is enough. There's wildfires. Los Angeles wildfires. And one guy is claiming that a homeless guy started the original fire in Pacific Palisades. I find it hard to believe, considering that it'd be kind of hard to. I guess you wouldn't have much trouble staying upwind in an 80-mile-an-hour Santa Ana wind from your fire if you built a fire to cook or stay warm. But that's what happens when you treat homeless people the way you do. You just you don't really actually fix the problem, and one of the problems is that you just want to be their next asshole landlord. One of the problems with a lot of homeless people is that they can't put up with all the asshole landlords in this country. It's really a major factor. If you've never had an asshole landlord, then you've never rented much property. I've never rented much property, but I've run into about 3 notable, complete psycho, fucking bad landlords. One of them right there in Austin, and the bitch came close to getting shot by me while I was in bed naked with my wife. Yep. Let herself into the apartment, not realize she didn't knock because she didn't realize that her last tenant had stuck toilet paper in there, and she had burned out the bell ringing it, trying to collect from him. She claimed she rang the bell, but then she let herself in. And the minute I heard the door open and shit like that, I'm awake. I'm left-handed. I grabbed the pistol right off the nightstand, and just as she's coming around the corner and stepping into the door of my bedroom, I got the gun right in her face, about to kill her. If I didn't instantly recognize her with glasses off, I would have killed her as an intruder. Yeah, she was that fucking crazy. And I pointed out to her, I said, the bell don't ring. I've already opened the box. It's burnt up. Knock on the door. Why didn't you knock on the door? And by the way, if you want to do an inspection or something like that, you have to give me legally 48 hours. So that's it. We're done. You're not getting another penny of rent out of me. You invaded my space. You almost got shot. Fuck you. Cussed her out and just ran her ass off. Didn't pay her another penny. And then we moved out when we fucking felt like it. She didn't even have to move to evict. I just told her I'll leave when I'm fucking ready here now, but you're done. There are landlords that can't be tolerated. There are employers that are insufferable. There will always be unemployed and homeless people in this country and around the world. You need to get used to that fact. A lot of people who have just even a shred of dignity and don't want to submit to some tyrannical, psychotic landlord or employer are going to be out of work and unhoused, homeless. And y'all need to accept that fact. You always like to scream, get a job. Well, get a job with who? You? I'll see you guys later. That's it for the morning cup. It's now past 4. It's time for me to. I've still got 6 hours to leisurely get organized, bathed, dressed up, and out of here. And when I leave, I'll be wearing a t-shirt, jacket. I have 4 layers on top, 2 layers on bottom, and the rest of the day and the night, if I can get my sleeping bag dry quickly enough. It should be a breeze tonight. It should only be. They were claiming 27, 29 a couple nights ago, and I think now they're already jacking it up to 30. To just freezing. And that first bag I bought, the other bag was a gift, is a 30-degree bag. Especially if you got clothes on, it'll handle 30 degrees easy. Just leave your shoes on, make sure your feet stay nice and warm. And so no big deal, but I'm telling you, whoever left that bag, if I get up there and close to it, I smell any kind of fragrance, because I know that shit is covered with micro encapsulated fragrances. The more you rustle it, twist it, and touch it, it releases more stank. And if that bag smells like fragrance, I'm not even looking inside of it, because everything inside of it's going to be covered with that fragrance. Whoever left that there, I can almost assure you that it's probably going to go into the trash without even being opened. You wasted your time, you wasted your money, etc. You people just really inconsiderate as shit. You're essentially, in order to make yourself feel good, you put another burden. In other words, one chore the first chore I got to deal with as soon as I get there is whether or not that's a scented bag that's even worth opening up. If it's a scented bag, I'm ditching it as easiest way possible. If nothing else, immediately it will get just pulled away from me. I may not take it all the way to the dumpster. I don't want to touch it. Don't have any. I do have some gloves, but I threw them away because they were these pink T-Mobile gloves. Some guy gave to me that I just figured like it might get cold enough, but eventually I realized that shit, I just don't normally wear gloves. Last year I bought a pair of gloves and almost never wore them. And stuff. And I paid like $13 for a pair of Swiss Tech gloves. They were nice and warm, and I just almost never wore them except during the very worst of the cold. I'll let you go. I don't want to wear them. I'm ready. That was actually my first cup of tea. I'm ready for another cup of tea, and then starting deciding what goes where. I know that duffel's going to be big enough to handle almost everything, considering I'm going to be wearing this. Everything's looking like it's working out, and I managed to weed out some of my old shit and I still got 2 bottles of propane. Been here for a week, and I didn't even finish off and that was only a partial bottle I brought. It's so efficient in here without any wind on it. I'm thinking actually if it's down to like an ounce or something, I'm thinking about just dumping it here and stuff, because just to save space. Because I've already got the other 2 bottles inside of a nylon bag inside the duffel. It won't take me long to finish up here, but the great thing is I don't have to rush. That's something that hangs over, is that having to, sometimes because I travel and stuff like that, especially, if I was, entertained a client that night or something like that, and, getting back to the hotel and then having trouble going to sleep from the stress and plotting, having to get all set up for the next morning and shit like that. And often I couldn't fall asleep till 2, 3 in the morning, and have to wake up by 6 at about the latest, and start getting organized and getting bathed and shaved and dressed and on the road by 7:30 in the morning. Might, if I'm lucky, have 1 cup of coffee. And I just hate that rushing in the morning to get out and get clear of So I don't have to do that today. And I'll probably push it till 10 o'clock. I'll turn off the heat, open the door, and start getting acclimated to the temperature before I even leave. See how my mind works. Uh, I've actually got this room better smelling than it was when I first got here. When I first got here, it smelled like somebody was maybe smoking cigars in here or something. It was the actually that fragrance was actually potentiating making the smell of tobacco worse. When I opened up the door, the first thing I got was real kind of old, intense, really strong tobacco smell. A lot of them people smoke them Sweet and Miles or Black and Miles. It didn't really smell like cigar, but it just had this real heavy tobacco smell. Yeah, I'll let you go.